Good morning. Happy Thursday. Time for our weekly update with Fall River Mayor Paul Coogan. Mr. Mayor, how are you this morning? How are you?
I'm doing fine, Keith.
Let's get right to it. Last night, there was a special emergency meeting of the Fall River School Committee. The committee immediately went into executive session. The reason for the executive session was a complaint against a school official. Is there anything you can tell us about what that incident was?
Not really, Keith. The reason to go into executive session is because you can't talk about things publicly. We adjourned in a couple hours. I think we have all decided as a group that all questions related to last night should be referred to Attorney Bruce Assad, and I know we'll have a better school system when we come out the other side.
What is the process in terms of something like this? Is there going to be more investigation? I guess my question is, has something been resolved?
Yeah,
or is there still an investigation?
Yes, like I said, Bruce Assad could fill anybody in if they had specific questions. We're just making sure that all of our students, our staff, and everyone in the district happy and content, and they're safe at work, and that's the focus of the committee every year, and we're not going to come off that. So we'll see how this goes, and as I said, we've been instructed by our attorney that everything goes through him.
All right. Is there going to be any sort of public announcement by him, or is there going to be any other announcements if there is a personnel issue in terms of retirement, resignation?
No, I think you just, like I said, if you have any questions like that, Keith, you should give him a call.
All right. Speaking of schools, earlier this week, there was the first positive case of COVID in one of the schools, a staff member at the Viveras school. Has there been any updates, any other positive COVID cases? And I guess in general, how's school been going the first week?
I have not heard anything other than that one case. I have actually got out to the Viveras school and the fraternal school the other day, and I walked around. They seemed like they were students were engaged. The staff looked upbeat. They all had masks on. It was really great to see everybody back in the building. I asked a group of second graders if they were happy to be back at school, and everybody in the class raised their hand. It's obviously a trying time for families and for staff and for the students, but we'll do the best we can and get through it. I haven't heard much. There was some technical glitches coming out of Cuss right at the beginning and a few other places, but it seems like we have a handle on those things, and moving forward, we can hopefully keep the kids learning and get as much as we can in school with all of our safety measures, and hope popping along.
It's always one of the things when you hear about a case of COVID, sometimes people will react differently. We know how people will react, but, it was always the anticipation that this would happen, right? There are going to be cases of COVID in our schools. It's just a matter of how the district deals with it. And I think this is probably one of those cases, right?
Yeah, we didn't play it up, but we actually had cases in our summer school program. They're addressed right away. People are isolated, people quarantine, and we get back to the business of using some prudent testing and making sure everyone's safe, and off we go. That's what's going to happen. I see it. Although I was reading a story this morning, said there's been no big outbreaks in any one school right now, but it's going to happen. There's going to be people that test positive. Our best defense is a good offense, which means people are tested, they wear a mask, they're smart, we clean the desk, and we keep going forward. I'd like to see us come out the other side of this thing, but we're not there yet.
In general COVID news, the city is still in the yellow in terms of the number of cases, although the cases have been trending a little higher. We're just below that number of 8 per 100,000 tests. What are you hearing from your public health officials in terms of just people doing what they're doing? Has there been any reports of any other specific outbreaks of groups and the like?
No, it's mostly spread out across the ages, and it's all demographics. So we're doing okay. I was concerned that we were going to pop the red today, and I know Boston felt the same way, and I saw they were 7.9, just under 8. We were 7.6. We've actually had the last 3 days have been pretty good. Yesterday, there was a lot of positive cases across the state, but we didn't bubble up that much. So we're just going to keep our nose to the grindstone and keep going forward. That's all we can do. We try to keep a handle on it. And again, we'd like to go back to the green, but we need a couple of breaks.
All right, and another matter this week, story from the Herald News. The city is looking to work with an organization in Boston to perform a performance audit on the police department. Give us a little bit of an update on how that came about, why it came about, and what do you hope to see from this?
Well, that was actually a suggestion from one of the city councils when we had one of our meetings. They throw out some ideas. And again, I'm trying to get up to speed on all the contracts for our unions and what goes on in the police station. I don't think, sorry, I don't think I know what all the inner workings of the police department are. I know that we could get some outside eyes on it and give us some ideas on where we may be able to make some changes that would improve police service to the community. Those are the things we're looking for. How do we improve service? How do we save some money? We have enough incentives for all of our officers to do a good job. And obviously the person we hired was the former Boston Police Superintendent, Ed Davis. He was the one that led the Boston Marathon bombing investigation. Very well known, very nice guy. He came down with 3 of his staff and talked to myself and the chief, and we did interviews with 2 other groups, and he was the one we picked. Tremendous experience in municipal police work in Fall River now and Boston, and he was the chief in Lowell. So he has a good resume, and he's going to help us, I hope. We'll probably look at the fire department after this and see if there's some things we can do to make it more efficient. And that's it. We want to make sure our men have all the equipment they need and they're safe and the citizens.
Does any of this work have to go through the union at all in terms of discussing with them in terms of the scope and what is the timeline in terms of getting a report?
Well, I'm not sure the timeline on the report. We figured it would take a couple of months, but I do expect him to sit down with the union, both the president and members, and discuss what their issues are. When you do a comprehensive report like that, everyone has to have a say on what goes into it, not just the admin, not just the chief, not just his crew, but also the patrolman all the way up. I hope he talks to the mechanics. I would like to see everybody have a say in what they think we're doing well right now in the police department and what we could do better. That's the scope of something like this. We want to know if there are areas we can improve on, and we would like someone from the outside that's looking at it in an impartial way, say, listen, you guys could do this better if you did this. And of course, we're going to sit down with our union and offer them the same kind of suggestions, and hopefully they'll bring some suggestions to the table. It's a team effort. He's merely the overseer that can say, listen, we've seen this in Lowell, we've seen this in Springfield, something they do in Lawrence. Those are the things an outside set of eyes can bring to the table. Sometimes in Fall River, we tend to sit here and across the table look at each other. My point is we bring in a different set of eyes, let them look at our policies and procedures. And again, I'd say you guys are flying, everything's great. That would be reassuring to the whole community and to our department. And again, maybe some in-house suggestions and some from the outside wouldn't hurt us a lick.
You also mentioned maybe the fire department going through this as well. Is there a possibility that, I mean, obviously finances are a part of this as well, that it could be broadened in terms of, just like taking a look at city efficiencies as a whole?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to try to do that right now. We're trying, I think once we get done with the police department, we're going to move towards the fire department. And then if there is something we can do in government center, we'll do the same thing. We've done some things here by combining positions, not filling others. We're looking for efficiencies right across the board because everybody, as I've told you before, Keith tells me that 2022 is not going to be for the faint-hearted as far as budgets go. So we're trying to get ready for that, and hopefully that's what we're working towards.
All right, and finally, this week, I know the city has done a great job. We've tried to do our part in terms of continuing to alert the people in Fall River to take part in the U.S. Census. There's actually a couple of events, actually one happening very soon, as I look at my watch for today, some sort of last splash events that you're going to be involved with, as well as other city officials, both today and tomorrow at a couple of food pantries. I guess it's been a really difficult time getting the word out, getting people to take part.
You know what it is, in days of COVID, yeah, people don't answer the doors, Keith. You could go to the door and knock on the door. They're not answering the door. I think, there's not like we can hand them a form and tell them to bring them down to Government Center. They got to log on a computer and do it on their own. It's a struggle. One of the city councilors, the president, Cliff Pond, offered us to even be able to set up a table at his restaurant this weekend on Saturday. So I think we'll be down there also. We're trying to get our numbers up. We need everyone in the Fall River to just go online and register for the U.S. Census. We need to bump these numbers up. We've come up like 11 points, but we really need to go up like another 6 or 7 or 8 at a minimum. And if people could pitch in over the weekend, we only have to the end of the month. That would be spectacular.
Yeah. And just for people wondering, this morning, if you're watching this live at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. At the Great Fall River Food Pantry, the mayor and census officials are going to be there. Then tomorrow from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Citizens for Citizens, that'll be another opportunity for you if you're in the region to take part. Mayor Coogan, I appreciate your time as always, and have a great week. We'll talk next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Keith. I appreciate it.
All right. And thank you for joining us today here in FRC Media. Have a great day.